Alright, so a little birdie has been telling me that you're a bit worried about sportsbook limiting you. That's fine, okay? We've all been there before, right? Sportsbooks, if you're profitable, you're going to get limited, right? Sportsbooks don't like it when you win, innit? So, with that being said, we're going to be going over some different strategies on how to avoid limits while arbitrage sports betting. Starting off, super quick, I've been posting a ton of content about arbitrage, and we've been getting a lot of good traction on TikTok and Instagram recently, so I just thank you guys for that. It's huge. It means a lot to me. It helps me out more than you guys know. So with that being said, I'm going to be doing a full in-depth tutorial today, or for the most part, I guess, like a full in-depth tutorial, because there's only really so much that I can cover about limits and arbitrage sports betting. But if you're completely new to this channel, that's fine. I have a ton of videos on the strategy that we use to actually become profitable. But to start off this video, we just hit $20,000. I'll put it on the screen right here. We just did 20K, I think like 24 days or 20 days into the month. We still have a week left to go, so we're trying to push as high as we can. We'll see if we can hit 30. I've never hit 30 before. But yeah, that's all I really had for the intro, and let's get straight into how to avoid limits, innit? You're going to get limited either way. You're using arbitrage betting, you're using whatever, you're just guessing it and magically hitting a bunch of money or winning a bunch of money on these sports books. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're profitable, you're going to get limited. Something that I like to compare it to is if you were playing blackjack at a casino, right? Even if you're not so profitable, you're going to get backed off if they realize you're counting cards. And it's the same thing with arbitrage betting. If they realize that you're an arbitrage bettor, or if they have signals that detect you or categorize you as a quote unquote sharp sports bettor, they're going to take every chance away from you possible. So they're going to limit you at early signs, even if you've only made 20 bucks or 200 bucks, if you take the wrong approach. So with that being said, here's the actual first strategy on how to kind of prolong your limits after you understand that you're going to get limited no matter what if you're profitable or you're using these strategies. So the first one is the transition from pre-match arbitrage betting to majority live arbitrage betting. And this is why. All right, so there's a thing called CLV, which stands for closing line value. Now this is all CLV means is how much you beat the market by, the edge that you got, right? And by definition, right, one side of an arbitrage bet has to be more profitable or is more profitable than the other side. That's the only way we can capitalize and make risk-free opportunities if sportsbooks mess up. So with that being said, right, every time the sportsbooks mess up and we catch value or catch an edge, we're beating the closing line value. We're beating CLV. So when that happens, the sportsbooks can detect how much we beat CLV by, on average, how much we're beating it by, 12 cents here, 13 cents there. So for example, if, you got a prop in at minus 120, but the market closed, the game started, and the prop, closed at plus 100, you just got 20 cents of value. Or, I'm sorry, not plus 100. If you got the bet in at plus 100 and the market closed at minus 120, you just got 20 cents of value. You beat CLV by 20 cents. So, with that being said, if you switch over to live arbitrage, the market is a lot more hectic, right? The games are happening, people are scoring, people are getting injured, whatever the reason may be. The lines are like this. They're very, very, very hectic, right? The market is moving all over the place. Compared to pre-match, when not much stuff is going on, the market is somewhat volatile, but nothing in compared to during the actual match, during the actual game. So if we're catching live arbitrage opportunities, even though they move a lot faster, right? It's a lot harder to catch a live arbitrage opportunity. If we're doing majority live, the books can't track us beating CLV because, if someone scores a basket, right? For example, if we're taking like a money line prompt or a prop, or a spread prop, or even a total over under or someone's player props for points, right? If someone's scoring a basket in live time, the odds are going to change drastically. So that entire range isn't really considered beating CLV if, the market is already super hectic. So transitioning over to majority live arbitrage, obviously once you start getting a lot of practice in with pre-match and you're very comfortable doing the whole thing, you kind of want to take majority live action in comparison to just pre-match. That doesn't mean that, pre-match is a bad way to go or you should just stop doing pre-match altogether. There's just a bunch of different strategies and a bunch of different precautions that you should be taking based on the book, based on your personal strategy, book rotations, etc. Moving on to tip number 2 is to round your bets. All right, I see so many people using the OddsJam arbitrage calculator, and then they'll put 400 bucks on one side, and then the other side will say something like 237.35. Nobody is placing those uneven, odd, ugly numbers on their bets, right? People are doing $100, $200, $250. They're usually sticking to normal unit sizes. But if you put a bunch of cents and a bunch of ugly, uneven numbers on majority of your bets, these sports books are going to flag it. They have AI system detectors that are going to be like, hey, this dude just slammed 37 cents on a random prop. He's probably an arbitrage bettor, so they're going to review your account, trigger whatever bots that they have, and you're going to get limited pretty freaking quick if you're constantly doing, you know, these uneven types of bets. So super simple tip here. If it's like 237, just round it up to 240 or 235. Either way, it's only affecting your profits by like $1 or $2, so it doesn't really matter. Obviously, it's going to make a huge difference on how long you last on these books, or you know, in the long term, in comparison to just these little $2 or $3 profits that you might be missing out on by rounding. So always round your sports bets, always round your arbitrage bets on both sides. All right, guys, and tip number 3 is to stop targeting these non-main market lines. So many people are slamming arbitrage opportunities down on Korean baseball at 3 in the morning or Japanese baseball at 5 in the morning. Nobody's betting on those, okay? And even if they are, the liquidity is not nearly as high as you might think it is compared to the mainline markets, where, you know, you can get down $1,000 without getting flagged, right? It's Korean baseball, it's Japanese baseball. If you're slamming down $1,000 or even $500, the books are going to be like, yo, like, what is this guy doing? You know what I mean? It's unusual activity that always triggers your accounts to be reviewed. So lean more towards mainstream markets, right? Things like money lines, spreads, total point over unders. These things are going to help your account not be flagged as suspicious activity or sharp activity, because there's so much more liquidity flowing through these markets. And also, player props tend to be more efficient usually towards the sports book. So if you're getting a ton of value there and you're beating CLV by a ton off of player props, it's also going to trigger some suspicion towards your account. So you might want to just rethink your strategy or your approach with arbitrage betting. So I mean, super quick tips, super simple tips here. Just 3 things that you can do to avoid or even prolong your sportsbook account's life by weeks or even months. And obviously, guys, there's a ton more intricacies and different ways that you can approach arbitrage sports betting. If you want access to all of my blueprints and my systems that I use to scale my business or scale my systems all the way up to $20,000 a month consistently, all you need to do is DM me the word ARB, ARB, on any of my social medias, preferably Instagram, because that's where I respond the most, and I'll reach out with the next steps to get you inside some more information. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and obviously DM me if you have any questions. I respond to all of my DMs. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.